So follow our lead. The violence, the hatred and greed. Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up. Make some noise! Make some! Fill this place with love! Stand to your feet and make some noise! Say rise up! Rise up! Rise up! Rise up! Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Ashe. Let it be so.
Hollywood fights back.
The Red Scare of the 1940s and 50s ushered in an era of mass censorship in the United States, known today as McCarthyism, when Congress turned its sights on Hollywood and put a target on artists. In October 1947, a group of screenwriters, directors, and producers were called before the House Un-American Activities Committee and refused to answer the government's questions on First Amendment grounds. This group became known as the Hollywood 10. A month later, every major studio announced that they'd been blacklisted. But the Hollywood 10 found support in their community, fellow artists who took up the cause of free speech and refused to be intimidated. Henry Fonda, Judy Garland, Katharine Hepburn, and dozens of others joined the cause, recognizing the power of solidarity against rising authoritarianism. They joined the Committee for the First Amendment and signed a letter that declared any attempt to curb freedom of expression and to set arbitrary standards of Americanism is in itself disloyal to both the spirit and the letter of our Constitution. Nearly 80 years later, facing a new regime in Washington, the Committee for the First Amendment is back, determined to protect the First Amendment rights for every American.
Please welcome to the stage a lifelong activist who brought us all together, the legendary Jane Fonda.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here at this benefit for the Committee for the First Amendment. Thank you. And here we are in New York. A huge congratulations to New York for your historic win with the Knicks. Yeah. The committee was relaunched last October to bring together the entertainment industry at this moment when our democracy is in peril. In the face of what's happening, we need our industry to be unified, activated, and unwilling to engage in anticipatory obedience. We stand together in defense of our right to free expression. They come for one of us. By God, they come for all of us. As you saw in the video just now, this isn't the first time that Americans' rights have come under attack. But this time, what is really different from the last century are the attacks are coming from every part of the government, the executive, the legislative, and the Supreme Court. There is a clear effort to destroy our fundamental democratic rights and dramatically retake our form of governance. I think the Un-American Activities Committee right now is coming from the White House. But you know what motivates this assault on us? This is important to know. It's because of all the victories that we've won. Victories in civil rights, in social justice. They're trying to roll them all back. The gains that we made, we're not going back. Those gains, they were hard fought, and they made our country better, and we are not going back. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Those rights are for everyone. Everyone. And we must defend them for everyone. Even if we don't agree with them. You know, it's not about Democrat or Republican or left or right. It's about right or wrong. And it is wrong. It is wrong for people to be attacked and called terrorists for exercising their rights and freedoms. It's time for Americans all across the country, all across the political spectrum, who care about these freedoms to stand up creatively, non-violently, to defend these rights while we can. And we must do this now. Because if we don't, we're not going to have any rights to defend. Now, some of you, I see you have flags in your seats. And you know, today is Flags Day, among other things. It's Flags Day, and we ran out of flags, so 500 of you have flags. Now, I know that not everybody feels that this flag represents them. And we want to take back our flag. We want to take it back, and we want to fight for a multiracial democracy in which everybody will feel represented. And so perhaps tonight, while you sing along, you can wave your flag, just to show our intention. Americans across the country and hopefully across the political spectrum are watching us tonight. Hundreds of thousands. People were registering for watch parties 20 minutes ago. And I wish that you could see the letters that we're getting. People are renting out whole theaters all over, every state in the country and Hawaii. Yeah. It's because we work with librarians and churches and Indivisible and No Kings, ACLU, and so much more. So that from church halls to beer halls, people are watching. Hello out there. We feel you with us. Thank you for joining. Woo! And isn't it great? Isn't it great to know how many of us there are? Listen, we are the majority. So let's act like it. I know times are hard, but if we work together, if we stay unified and know in our hearts that we're going to win, we will win. Think of the Knicks. Like the Knicks. And here's something else. Right on this stage have been fights for freedom. This is truly a historic town hall. It was built over a century ago by suffragists to house... It was built to house their League for Political Education. And they stood on this very stage and rallied the masses about the right of women to vote and many other really important things. Those women changed the Constitution right here, and we're here to defend it. Town Hall has also been part of the history of Black Americans, from hosting Marian Anderson's debut performance in 1935. to Langston Hughes' advocacy for racial justice in 1944, to Coretta Scott King's Concert for Freedom that raised money for the SCLC. This stage that I am standing on has served as a platform for both artistry and civil rights activism. And tonight we're going to have music with our activism. Music is important. I've been to a lot of rallies over the decades. And you know, one thing that I've observed is that nothing brings people together more powerfully than music. You know, music speaks a truth that's beyond words. It's a primal unifying force, a common language of resistance and hope. You know, a great speech can inspire a following. A song can define a movement. To read the history of social movements is really to read a songbook, from spirituals during the Civil War and their reinterpretation during the Civil Rights era to folk music during the Vietnam War. Music has galvanized action, sometimes very cleverly skirting the censorship. When we listen to a protest song, we don't just hear the words, we feel the message, right? You know, I've never forgotten in the 60s hearing Joan Baez sing at a protest of hundreds of thousands of people. They were united and inspired by her music. And in the 60s and 70s, I watched the government bend to the will of those people, and we're going to watch it again. But right now, the government and its cronies is routinely violating its First Amendment to silence artists, shuttering institutions like the Kennedy Center, defunding museums and the National Endowment of the Arts, and banning books, canceling TV hosts who speak out. It's really bad. And it's being allowed by cowardly corporations. I'm not going to name names right now. But I am honored now to pass the mic to artists and activists who continue to speak up and sing out so that we might be inspired to rise up. And thank you again for showing up. You know, showing up. Showing up is an act of hope, and you all give me hope. And now to start the evening, please welcome a woman who represents hope and resilience, both in her own powerful individual presence and as a representative of the indigenous peoples of North America. Please welcome Lily Gladstone.
Please settle down. Okinek sokoeks, nestunetään kopitaakin. Mahto tosiksi ketsettäpi, mahto tonnimipu. Iksokapinek sokoeks, nitsikataiki. Hello, my friends. My name is Lily Gladstone, Eagle Woman. I'm from the Blackfeet and Nez Perce Nations. Thank you, my friends. I feel the good in your being here together tonight. I am so honored to have been called upon by the inimitable Jane Fonda to open this gathering by thanking the Lenape, the first peoples of Lenape-Hoking. Where we sit and stand now, most specifically the Munsee Lenape of Mannahatta, this island of many hills that we now call Manhattan. Lenape land tenure and stewardship of this place predates any lease, any real estate, any idea of individual ownership. And Lenape steps have carved the first pathways of this land that now supports this infamously sleepless and bustling city. Today, you don't have to look too hard to feel and see their legacy all around you. I mean, as you're navigating the streets of New York City, Broadway, named for a trading path, a broad enough avenue for trade with Lenape for beaver pelts. Pearl Street, named for the shoreline of glistening shells where Lenape hand-selected their wampum. These quahog shells, with their contrasting balance of immaculate pearl white and deep undulating shades of purple, were widely gifted, traded, and still to this day are considered sacred. Wampum was also morphed into the Dutch West India Trading Company's favorite form of currency in New Amsterdam, which they subsumed into their own style of trade. Speaking of that, how could we forget Wall Street? Metaphorically, one of the world's hardest walls to breach, it was in fact named after the 2,000-foot-long wall built by black bodies enslaved by the Dutch West India Trading Company to evict and displace Lenape from these lands. Yeah, Wall Street was a literal wall, y'all. Today, the Lenape remain all across Turtle Island, all spread across several sovereign nations in the diaspora of removal, both in Canada and the United States, including but not limited to the Delaware Tribe of Indians in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, the Delaware Nation of Anadarko, Oklahoma, the Stockbridge-Muncie community in Bowler, Wisconsin. Today, where we all stand in history, it is alarming, to say the least. For many Americans, this era of division, of stolen speech, broken promises, families torn apart, of risking all you have for the simple right to exist as you are. This may feel unprecedented. You may think, how did we get here? For the first peoples of this land, unfortunately, this has been ongoing since the birth of this country as we know it today. So perhaps the question then is not how did we get here, it's how are we still here? And maybe more importantly, how do we move forward? Now, I myself cannot speak for all Indigenous peoples of this land, not by a long shot. I can only speak for myself. But being a mixed Native child raised on my Blackfeet Reservation in northwestern Montana, I can speak to teachings that I've heard my whole life. For the Blackfeet and every other tribe from the Great Plains, one of our greatest teachers is and always has been at the epicenter of our way of life, our language, our way of knowing, our ceremonies, and that is the American bison, the buffalo. Inni, our word for buffalo, have long taught us what resistance in the face of adversity looks like, being the only animal able to calve in the middle of sub-zero temperatures where cattle would simply lay down. They would be buried under freezing snow of the high plains. They're pitiful. Buffalo, however, they turn head on, and as a herd, they face the blizzard. They face a storm together. For them, that's nothing metaphorical. They were built for that. To us, well, part of being a human being in our language is to accept that we also are gimitapsi. We're pitiful. We are not built like buffalo, so we can only borrow and learn from them. They feed us, they clothe us, they show us the way. Our survival is so intertwined with the buffalo that in order to conquer the Great Plains and its people, the United States Army launched a campaign to eradicate the American bison, inviting settlers to shoot on sight, often from passing trains, as many buffalo as they could. This campaign was so effective that buffalo declined from a population of roughly 30 million to less than 1,000. Some say 325. Oh, look, another wall. Today, buffalo have grown back to a much healthier but still comparatively thin number, roughly 500,000 head in this country, in large part due to the efforts of indigenous nations across the plains, my tribe included. It's not far from my family's allotment. I can say for the first time in 150 years, our Blackfeet lands, including Glacier National Park, they have been waiting for Ini to return this whole time. The soil is feeling the hooves again, tilling it. The land is feeling the invitation of other species, supported by this keystone species, to also return. With them, they're restoring the balance to this land that continues to give us all life, that has been so cattle-trodden for the last 150 years. We're seeing new species, we're seeing old wallows returning, and we're seeing the spirit of our children, seeing these buffalo on this land, knowing things are coming back into balance. Hard fight, but this was possible on my reservation in the hands of Blackfeet people because of what we were taught by the buffalo. They are still teaching us how to be. We came together in community for them and for ourselves so we could all breach the storm. We still have a long way to go, but in spite of ongoing campaigns and policies to erase both the Blackfeet and the buffalo, we are both, in fact, still here. This is one example from Indian country, and there are countless others like it. I wish I had time to go into it and describe even a few more of them. There are, after all, 575 federally recognized tribes in the United States, and a few hundred more that are continuing their fight for recognition. Each nation Each nation has its own story of diversity, its own teachings of survival and cultural perpetuity, and I can tell you it is still in style. It is ongoing, and so are we. So like the buffalo, we were built for this because we were built to be together, united in community with relentless, unapologetic tenacity, working together to ensure the next generation has a future. Thank you all for choosing to come together. We know that fascism thrives in isolation. We will not face this storm in rugged individual glory. We are going to do it together. Thank you, my friends. I feel good having you here. Thank you.
Over the past century, musicians have used their voices not just to entertain, but to advocate for social change, often at great personal cost. From Marian Anderson blazing a trail for racial equality in the 1930s, to civil rights pioneer Paul Robeson standing up to McCarthyism in the 40s and 50s, to his mentee, Harry Belafonte, carrying on Robeson's legacy with decades of fighting for justice. To Nina Simone, making her music the message with songs like Mississippi Goddamn, and Billie Holiday's arrest and imprisonment after singing the anti-lynching protest song, Strange Fruit. Artists have used their platform to lift up their fellow Americans and stand up for civil liberties. The Vietnam War brought in an era of folk music as pacifist resistance, with artists like Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, and Peter, Paul, and Mary leading thousands of protesters in song at marches and rallies in the nation's capital. And today, artists like Bruce Springsteen, Tom Morello, Kendrick Lamar, Lucy Dacus, and Bad Bunny continue to fight against tyranny from the microphone at rallies, in concert halls, inspiring the masses with anthems of courage and solidarity. Tonight, we are bringing songs from the past to give us hope for a more just and free future. Because in the immortal words of Sam Cooke, it's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come.
Please welcome to the
You're watching the No Kings concert organized by the Committee for the First Amendment, led by actor and activist Jane Fonda. Due to restrictions in music rights, we're not able to show some of the musicians. So we are going to break away from the main stage here, but we'll have more of the concert for you in a few minutes.
To the stage, Rude Mechanical Orchestra and New York Singing Resistance.
Amen. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Amen. Ashe. Let it be so.
I can't believe I have to follow Sasha Allen. Lord have mercy, Jesus. To Jane Fonda, Sasha Allen, baby. Woo. Woo. caught the spirit like I'm in church. Ooh. Bette Midler, ooh, Rufus Wainwright, Patti Smith, and all the other legends that I am proud to stand up here with today, and a little intimidated. And to all of you who have gathered in this moment, focused and knowing what our mission is on this No Kings, Knicks in 5 weekends. Sorry, I had to throw that in. No, I truly feel so honored to be here. My mom, the late Philomena Augustina Carol Lomena, an immigrant, an academic, and a whole Bette and Jane fan, would be so very proud. But as excited as I am to be on this stage, I also understand the stakes in the assignment. Because the threat is not coming, friends, it is here. Brendan Carr, the man who wrote the blueprint to dismantle the FCC in Project 2025, is now running it. He is weaponizing the agency to bully and control the press and suppress the wider televised media. Don Lemon arrested, Georgia Fort arrested, Terry Moran fired from ABC, Scott Pelley fired from CBS by the clack of far-right ideologues who bought it and handed it over to a zealot named Bari Weiss, who may soon, she earned those boos, she may soon also control CNN. Jim Acosta out at CNN, Karen Attiah fired from the Washington Post, and me more than a year ago. All of us shown the door for just doing our jobs, standing up to the administration, and in my case, also for speaking out against the genocide. And it's not just journalists. Jimmy Kimmel suspended until the people rose up to put him back on the air. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert fired after more than 30 years that show was on the air because a certain orange asshole whose name is no longer on the Kennedy Center cannot take a joke. Scott Pelley, one of the most trusted voices in news from what was the most trusted news program in America, 60 Minutes. He told the New York Times, and I quote, "CBS News is on fire." And it gets worse. ABC paid Trump to settle a bogus lawsuit. Paramount paid him. Jeff Bezos ripped Democracy Dies in Darkness off of the masthead of the Washington Post and handed Melania a $40 million documentary bribe for a film that nobody but the cult even watched. Trump, he himself posted on his Temu Twitter that my former employer did his bidding when they fired me. This is corporate media on its knees. A handful of billionaires consolidating local stations, newspapers, national networks, turning American journalism into what they hope will become a U.S. version of North Korea. They want us afraid. Trump wants us to shrink when he calls us crooked, stupid, piggy, and when he screams in the faces of women journalists. And by the way, Barbara Walters would never. She would have eaten him alive. Rest in peace, Barbara. But as Mr. Pelley told Anderson Cooper, you cannot have democracy without journalism. And I would add, without art, without comedy, without music, and without clear voices speaking freely to those in power. And friends, that is what they didn't count on. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. That stanza from We Shall Overcome is still true. The path forward is independent media and independent voices, unbossed and unafraid. Shirley Chisholm's words are reality. Midas Touch, The Don Lemon Show, The Joy Reid Show, do like and subscribe, The Jim Acosta Show, Katie Fang's podcast, Wajahat Ali, Danielle Moody, Michael Fanone's podcast, Harry Dunn running for Congress, a hero of January 6th, and so many more. We are not shrinking, we are growing. So be louder, be bolder, rise up, sing out. Thank you and God bless.
This is the No Kings concert being held in New York City. Due to restrictions and music rights, we're not able to show some of the musicians. So we're going to break away from the main stage here. but we'll have more of the concert for you in a few minutes. Still ahead, Julia Roberts will read a poem.
Bette Midler.
Hey, settle down. Oke nixokoeks, nistunetäniko pitääkin. Mahtoto siksi ketsetapi, mahtoto nimipu. Iksokapi nixokoeks, nitsikataiki tsihp. Hello, my friends. My name is Lily Gladstone, Eagle Woman. I'm from the Blackfeet and Nez Perce Nations. Thank you, my friends. I feel the good in your being here together tonight. I am so honored to have been called upon by the inimitable Jane Fonda to open this gathering by thanking the Lenape, the first peoples of Lenape-Hoking. Where we sit and stand now, most specifically the Munsee Lenape of Mannahatta, this island of many hills that we now call Manhattan. Lenape land tenure and stewardship of this place predates any lease, any real estate, any idea of individual ownership. And Lenape steps have carved the first pathways of this land that now supports this infamously sleepless and bustling city. Today, you don't have to look too hard to feel and see their legacy all around you. I mean, as you're navigating the streets of New York City, Broadway, named for a trading path, a broad enough avenue for trade with Lenape for beaver pelts. Pearl Street, named for the shoreline of glistening shells where Lenape hand-selected their wampum. These quahog shells, with their contrasting balance of immaculate pearl white and deep undulating shades of purple, were widely gifted, traded, and still to this day are considered sacred. Wampum was also morphed into the Dutch West India Trading Company's favorite form of currency in New Amsterdam, which they subsumed into their own style of trade. Speaking of that, how could we forget Wall Street? Metaphorically, one of the world's hardest walls to breach, it was in fact named after the 2,000-foot-long wall built by black bodies enslaved by the Dutch West India Trading Company to evict and displace Lenape from these lands. Yeah, Wall Street was a literal wall, y'all. Today, the Lenape remain all across Turtle Island, all spread across several sovereign nations in the diaspora of removal, both in Canada and the United States, including but not limited to the Delaware Tribe of Indians in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, the Delaware Nation of Anadarko, Oklahoma, the Stockbridge Munsee community in Bowler, Wisconsin. Today, where we all stand in history, it is alarming, to say the least. For many Americans, this era of division, of stolen speech, broken promises, families torn apart, of risking all you have for the simple right to exist as you are, this may feel unprecedented. You may think, how did we get here? For the first peoples of this land, unfortunately, this has been ongoing since the birth of this country as we know it today. So perhaps the question then is not how did we get here, it's how are we still here? And maybe more importantly, how do we move forward? Now, I myself cannot speak for all Indigenous peoples of this land, not by a long shot. I can only speak for myself. But being a mixed Native child raised on my Blackfeet reservation in northwestern Montana, I can speak to teachings that I've heard my whole life. For the Blackfeet,
Stage President of the American Library Association, Sam Helmick, and author and president of Authors Against Book Bans, Maggie Takuta Hall.
Good evening, beloved. My name is Sam Helmick, and I have the honor of serving as the president of the American Library Association. we share a refrain and a long chorus of people who have gathered generation after generation to sing, speak, write, organize, create, protest, and imagine a more just world into being. We all know the First Amendment is not merely a list of these freedoms. It is an invitation to participate, to tell stories, to hear the stories of others, to wrestle with difficult ideas and difficult truths, to build something larger than ourselves. And libraries know this well. Every day, libraries make room for the hard harmonies and the difficult decrescendos. Libraries are one of the few places left in our society where people can encounter perspectives they did not expect, voices they may have never heard, and neighbors they may not yet understand. But friends, libraries cannot do that work alone. Civil society cannot do that work alone. We need you. We need your stories, your curiosity, your questions, your readership, your courage, your willingness to stay in conversation even when the conversation becomes challenging. Because liberty cannot defend itself. Freedom of expression must sustain it. Civil society requires us, people gathering in rooms like this, people showing up in communities like yours, people choosing again and again to believe that every person deserves the dignity of being heard and the freedom to learn. So tonight, as we rise up and sing out, I invite you to practice your freedoms. Visit a library. Support your local journalists, read broadly, listen deeply, speak courageously, show up for one another. Because the chorus of justice and freedom and democracy has never depended upon a single voice. Its strength has always come from all of us singing together. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Maggie Takuta Hall, and I'm the president of Authors Against Book Bans. When I wrote a picture book about how my grandparents met during World War II in a Japanese-American internment camp, I didn't expect a lot of controversy. But I found myself in the center of a national one about censorship when I was offered a publishing deal, which was contingent on me removing the word racism from the book. I said no, and I said no publicly, and I thought that that would be the end of it. Instead, I got a front row ticket to the book banning mania taking over school districts and public libraries all over the nation. It was while visiting Idaho, the state where my grandparents had been wrongfully imprisoned, that I was first made aware of the violence of book bans. I had understood that book bans were a problem. I had not until then understood that they were ruining people's lives. The librarians I spoke to were facing daily harassment at their jobs, being followed home, doxxed on the internet, accused of horrific crimes against children. They were receiving death threats, all for the crime of being librarians. After that, I told myself I'd be damned if I let them fight alone. And so I proudly joined with other book creators to form what is now Authors Against Book Bans, a coalition of over 5,000 creators all across the country, united under a single guiding principle, that it is not the government's place to tell us what we get to read. I think a lot of us, authors in general, were waiting for someone to come and save us. But it's become clear no one is coming. Not the politicians who are eager to sell out our trans siblings for political expedience, not the CEOs who stand to gain from privatizing the public good, and certainly not our president, who is bent on gaining authoritarian power through all the dumbest and cruelest means possible. Exactly. That's how I feel too. It's up to us to save ourselves. The thing that makes me proudest of Authors Against Book Bans is that it is not one person who is stepping up to stop book bans alone. Countless volunteers do the thankless, long, and often crushing work to shore up our fight. Together, we have accomplished and we have won so much because no one is coming to save us. And that's okay. We are going to save us.
Everyone, please give a warm welcome to some special guests who are here to talk about the impact of family detention and family separation, accompanied by Ms. Rachel, Pastor Garcia, and the Peace Poets.
Tonight, I want to talk to you about my friends. So many of them have been detained or separated from their parents, and I've seen how much it hurts them. Children belong in schools and on playgrounds. Not in detention centers. All children should feel safe and loved. Not just those that look a certain way, speak a certain language, or were born here. Every child deserves to be free.
I'm Pastor Garcia. I'm from Texas, and along with my daughter, I've seen directly the suffering caused by ICE in my congregation. And across the country, ICE has detained thousands of babies, toddlers, and children. They have separated them from their schools and communities. They have held them behind walls and wire. Now is the time for us to decide. How will we respond to this injustice? How will we respond to the cries of our children? Jesus taught us, as is taught in every faith, to love and care for all children with generosity and with courage. As a mom and a pastor, I know that this is what we must do. This is our call. We must stand up and speak loudly and say harming children is wrong and it must end.
I've had the honor of meeting with 10 absolutely precious children and their wonderful families who have been locked in Dilley Immigration Detention Center in Texas. One minute, I talked to a 9-year-old about how we both love pizza and soccer and how he won the spelling bee and wanted to get to the state spelling bee, and the next minute he was begging for help to get out of what we know is a family prison. A prison that is neglecting, abusing, and traumatizing kids. As the American Academy of Pediatrics says, there is no safe amount of time for a child to be in detention. Dilley Immigration Detention Center must be shut down. We need to end the cruel policies of family detention and family separation.
My name is Ariana. I am 14 years old. I was detained and separated from my siblings for 50 days. I saw sick children who didn't get help in time, children fainting, and families struggling to get food and medicine. I missed out on school, time with my family, and the peace of mind that every child deserves. Today, I am here to raise awareness, to remind you that behind every number, there is a family. There are human beings. There are children with dreams, fears, and hopes. My story matters, and so do the stories of 1,000 children like me.
Can we tell Ariana, we see you and we love you? And because your life matters, because the lives of all our children matter more than anything, we went inside Dili. And tonight we're going to share with you a song that we co-wrote, sitting in the visitor center with the children. And now they sing that song to keep hope alive each night.
And we promised them that we would invite everyone across this country to say their words and uplift their song like a mighty wave of song.
And we need you, your voice, to connect to a movement to free families forever. Are y'all ready to sing this song? We need you to repeat after us. Here we go.
I sing from here and you sing from there.
Try that. I sing from here, you sing.
And you sing from there.
Together we'll sing down the walls
everywhere.
Say it loud. Together we'll sing down the walls everywhere. We say the love in our heart like the waves of the sea. Say it with us. The love in our heart like the waves of the sea. Together we'll sing until everyone's free. Together we'll sing until everyone's Let's do it all together. I sing from here, you sing.
And you sing from there.
Together we'll sing down the walls. Say the love in our heart. The love in our hearts like the waves of the sea. Together we'll sing until one more time, say together. Together we'll sing until everyone's free. And so right now I can tell you learn the words and that our people across the country learn the words. But this is a time we need something different. We need to dig deep into our hearts and sing it like our voice could break down the walls of detention centers.
Yes.
So we're going to sing it in Spanish the way our children are singing it on the inside. I don't care how y'all sing it. We just need to sing it like we mean it. Are y'all ready to do this?
Yo canto acá
y tú cantas
allá.
Yo canto acá, tú cantas allá. Juntos.
Juntos los muros vamos a tumbar.
Juntos.
Juntos los muros vamos a tumbar.
Nuestro amor como olas del mar.
Con nuestro amor como olas del mar.
Cantando llegamos
a la
todos
libertad.
juntos vamos.
Cantando llegamos a la libertad.
Cantando llegamos
a la
like a promise. Cantando
llegamos a la libertad.
Together we'll sing
until everyone's free.
Together we'll sing
until everyone's free.
Free families! Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage a fearless activist and a star of stage and screen, Tessa Thompson.
Hi, everybody. Wowie zowie, what a night. What a weekend, right? Last night, now this. I mean, come on. I don't know about anybody else, but last night, much as my spirit wanted to be celebrating in the streets, my body wanted to be celebrating on its couch. And that's what I did, which is my American right. But while I was doing that, I was looking at all of these photographs and videos of people celebrating in the street, and I came across a turn of phrase that I had never heard before, which is collective effervescence. And, right? And that is what we are engaging in tonight, so I want to thank all of you for being here. Angela Davis said that it is in collectivities that we find reservoirs of hope and optimism. When George Floyd was murdered in Minnesota for being the wrong color at the wrong time, I took to the streets of Los Angeles, where I live. And I linked arms with thousands of mourners in the streets, sharing in our collective grief and our outrage and our commitment to make his legacy a revolution. 6 years later, Minnesota was a battleground again after ICE murdered Alex Pretty and Renee Nicole Good. And again, I was filled with despair and rage. But what was most heartbreaking and most enraging at the time about the murders was how unsurprising they were to me. As a Black American, there is a kind of bone-tired exhaustion in fighting the battles that we have fought so many times before, in insisting time and time again, generation after generation, that people have the right to exist, even if they speak out against the state. But what happened in Minneapolis in the aftermath underscored Dr. Davis's words so profoundly. When ICE made the streets unsafe and when the National Guard stormtrooped in, neighbors became comrades, moms' texts turned into crisis response hotlines, schools became safe zones, the people had the power to protect one another. And the people refused to let Renee Good and Alex Pretty's murders intimidate them into inaction. The collective became the hope. The community care is why my reservoir of optimism has not yet run dry. I felt it then, and I feel it now in this room together tonight. So it's our job, even and especially in the face of despair, to keep that hope alive. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
Please welcome to the stage, Julia Roberts.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Hi. I don't know about you guys, but my heart is beating really fast right now. And I would just like to take a moment together. Let's all just put our phones down for just a second. You can pick them back up in a minute. They will survive without you. But do this for me. Just put your hand on your beating heart and just close your eyes. And just take a really deep breath in and breathe in all that hope, all that love, and just breathe out all that fear. Just let it all go. And that is the power that we all have together. Yeah. So just keep doing that, because that's a critical piece to this puzzle, and it's a critical piece to continuing the fight that exhausts all of us. We all feel like, I can't turn the news on, I don't want to hear it. But we have to hear it, we have to face it. But if we keep inhaling and exhaling, we will prevail. This I know for sure. And I know backstage they're thinking, okay, she wasn't supposed to say any of that. So now I'm going to get to business, to the beautiful business that I'm here for, which is to talk about Renee Nicole Good. Yeah. Renee Nicole Good is not a symbol. She is an American woman, a queer woman, who is doing the very best she could do to be good in an unjust world. Yeah. And I am honored to celebrate her life and her legacy tonight, because the life she gave is our responsibility to carry. And I am so grateful and honored to the poet Amanda Gorman for writing these beautiful words that I am allowed to share with you now. And it is with her blessing that I do so. This poem is entitled For Renee Nicole Good. They say she is no more, that her absence roars, blood blown like a rose, iced wheels flinched and froze. Now bare riot of candles, dark fury of flowers, pure howling of hymns. If for us she arose, somewhere in the pitched deep of our grief crouches our power. The howl where we begin straining upon the edge of the crooked crater of the worst of what we've been. Change is only possible, and all the greater, when the labor and bitter anger of our neighbors is moved by the love and better angels of our nature. What they call death and void, we know is breath and voice. In the end, gorgeously endures our enormity. You could believe departed to be the dawn, when the blank night has so long stood. But our bright fled angels will never be fully gone, when they forever are so fiercely good.
folks, we come to you tonight from Minneapolis. We are here on unceded Dakota land in George Floyd Square. We've got folks here from the Singing Resistance. The Singing Resistance formed to be a mass movement of singers organizing to fight authoritarianism. We're not a choir. We're a movement you can join. We have 300 chapters all across the nation because we know that music is an organizing tool. We're in the lineage of the unions, of the Black Civil Rights Movement, of the Poor People's Campaign, of the Sunrise Movement, where music helps us shift the world towards the liberation that we need. And we're here in George Floyd Square with our friends from Brass Solidarity.
We are Brass Solidarity. We have been hosting a sonic occupation in George Floyd Square ever since a year after his murder. We've stayed right here with the neighbors because our solidarity is brass. Because, like Singing Resistance, we come from a long spiritual lineage and not going for the okie doke. So, if you want to join the band, pull up on us. We are people who care, and that's how we show up here.
So, we want to teach you a song that you can use at your next protest, wherever you may be. It's very simple. The words say, organize, organize, organize. And there's some call and echo, which you'll pick up real quick. We're going to invite our friends from Singing Resistance, New York City, to join us, and they'll teach you some songs, too. So, we're going to start out here, and we're going to let you catch up. One, two, three. We got to organize, organize, organize. We got to organize, organize, organize. We got to organize, organize, organize. Organize, organize, organize. Oh, organize, organize, organize. Organize, organize, organize. Organize, organize, organize. Organize, organize, organize. We want justice for our people, so let's get organized for what we believe. Call it back. We want justice for our people, so let's get organized for what we believe. We want justice. We want justice for our people, so let's get organized for what we believe. That's why we got to organize, organize, organize. Organize, organize,
So Minneapolis inspired the world with the power of song. But here in New York City, the greatest city in the world,
Go Knicks.
we also have a strong tradition of cultural organizing, with organizers and individuals and choruses working for liberation through music.
So we've got many groups here tonight. We've got folks repping from the Rude Mechanical Orchestra.
We've got the Resistance Revival Chorus. We've got Sing in Solidarity. And we've got Sing Out NYC.
We've also got the New York Choir Project. And folks from Songs in the Key of Resistance with the Cairo Center. Singing Resistance is a joyful movement that, through the power of collective singing, mobilizes and organizes people to take loving and radical action in solidarity with those most impacted by state violence. We invite you, we invite you wherever you are to join in this movement of song. We are all part of the singing resistance.
That's right. Absolutely. Every one of us. And we just heard our friends in Minneapolis sing a few songs that have been sung across the country and the world since January.
So now we're going to invite you all to sing along with us, and here's Josh to teach us a song.
Say these words with me. No one is getting left behind this time.
No one is getting left behind this time.
We get there together or never get there at all.
We get there together or never get there at all.
Rooted in the rich soils of my ancestral lineage of Jewish revolutionary nonviolence. This song takes inspiration from 3 words in the book of Exodus. Vagam Erev Rav. A mixed multitude, unified across difference, organized to defy an oppressive state. This song is an aspirational invocation that will challenge any of you who sing it to do the difficult work of staying connected in a world that is stacked against us to be divided. Since I wrote this song in 2021, it has become an anthem of Palestinian liberation, of immigrant justice, and the singing resistance, which we are now all a part of. So sing this one with me, line after me. It goes something like this. No, no one is getting left behind this time. Your turn.
No one is getting left behind this time.
Yeah. No one is getting left behind.
No one is getting left behind.
No one is getting left behind this time.
No one is getting left behind this time.
We get there together or never get there at all. Try that. We get there together or never get there at all. We sound amazing. We get there together or never get there at all.
We get there together and never get there.
Here we go. No one's getting left behind this time. No one is getting left behind this time. No one is getting left behind. Not this time. No one is getting left behind this time. How do we get there? Together or never get there at all.
We get there together. Sing.
We get there together or never get there at all. We get there together or never get there at all.
my God.
May it be so. May it be so.
Make some noise. Me here at the top, make some noise.
Please welcome to the stage actor and activist Wilson Cruz and RuPaul's Drag Race superstar, activist, and lip sync champion, Peppermint.
Oh my God, we love you so much. Before we say what we're prepared to say, I just have to take a personal moment to say, Happy Puerto Rican Pride Day! To all my Boricuas in the house and watching, Te amo, Boricua! All right, go.
Ow! Hi, everyone. Hey. Ow! My name is Peppermint. I am a 46, okay, 46-year-old trans woman, that's right. And I am standing here with my fabulous friend, Wilson Cruz, today very proudly and fabulously because of music. Growing up, like many of my trans siblings, I hid who I was. Jane Fonda said that music can speak the truth. For me, it was a way that I could live my truth. As a young musical theater student from Pennsylvania, go PA, singing and performing were how I could be myself. And for a queer little kid in the closet, music opened the door. I'm standing on this stage, because of stages just like it, and spotlights that showed me and the world I was always who I was meant to be. You know, we live in a time where that spotlight is dangerous for so many trans Americans. Trans children who should be living openly in their truth are intimidated by a government that cares more about censoring their bodies than feeding them. A government more concerned with what school sports they can play than whether or not those very schools are properly funded. These attacks on the trans community, they serve as a distraction from the immense hoarding of wealth and resources by billionaires and now trillionaires. A distraction from the failures of this government to protect its people instead of harming them. And these discriminatory attacks on the trans community also distract us from the very lopsided rate of anti-trans violence and murder that way too many trans people have fallen victim to. 11 trans people have been murdered in the past 3 months in this country, and I've not seen a single word about it on the news. I grew up during a time when transness wasn't recognized or talked about, and yet here I am, baby. Having experienced things most people, let alone trans people, don't get to experience. And still, I recognize my privilege in just simply surviving and being out and proudly trans. I'm here tonight because of my trans foremothers, like Marsha P. Johnson, who fought for my right to exist, and I continue to shine that spotlight for all the trans youth who doubt that they could ever stand here looking this fabulous, darling. Because we know it takes a village and some cheekbones.
Thank you, Peppermint. And I also stand here, along with Peppermint, representing all of the young people who are trying to make their schools safe in a time that this government is making very difficult to do so. And so, as the board chair at GLSEN, I want to say hello to all of those young students out there who are doing just that. And with that, I want to remind you that this is Pride Month in America. And while we are very, very proud, this year, our rainbow flag is battle-worn. Because this spring, blocks from this theater, the pride flag was removed from the national memorial of the Stonewall Uprising. And it was only returned when activists brought it back themselves. When the governor of Texas clicked his little boot spurs and had all the rainbow crosswalks painted over, activists grabbed their brushes and painted the sidewalks instead. Because that's what we do. It goes to show if you lower our flags, we will raise them back up, baby. You can paint over our rainbows, but we'll paint an even brighter one to lead the way. Because a rainbow should not be shamed and banned. Because beauty should not be shamed and banned. A rainbow on our streets and on our monuments is a powerful reminder of hope and joy after a storm. A rainbow is a spectrum of inclusion and representation and diversity that makes any city shine. So today we honor our queer ancestors. I think about James Baldwin, I think about Sylvia Rivera when I say that. I think about Audre Lorde. Today we honor them by continuing their fight, by insisting on beauty and technicolor pride in defiance of whatever storms try to wash us away. Happy Pride, everyone.
Our coverage of the No Kings concert will continue in a few minutes. Due to restrictions in music rights, we're not able to show some of the musicians, so we are going to break away from the main stage here, but we'll have more of the concert coming up, including the choir Broadway Inspirational Voices, singing Huddled Masses.
Mystical Rufus Wainwright.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here at this benefit for the Committee for the First Amendment. Thank you. And here we are in New York. A huge congratulations to New York for your historic win with the Knicks. Yeah. The committee was relaunched last October to bring together the entertainment industry at this moment when our democracy is in peril. In the face of what's happening, we need our industry to be unified, activated, and unwilling to engage in anticipatory obedience. We stand together in defense of our right to free expression. They come for one of us. By God, they come for all of us. As you saw in the video just now, this isn't the first time that Americans' rights have come under attack. But this time, what is really different from the last century are the attacks are coming from every part of the government, the executive, the legislative, and the Supreme Court. There is a clear effort to destroy our fundamental democratic rights and dramatically retake our form of governance. I think the Un-American Activities Committee right now is coming from the White House. But you know what motivates this assault on us? This is important to know. It's because of all the victories that we've won. Victories in civil rights, in social justice. They're trying to roll them all back. The gains that we made, we're not going back. Those gains, they were hard fought, and they made our country better, and we are not going back. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Those rights are for everyone. Everyone. And we must defend them for everyone. Even if we don't agree with them. You know, it's not about Democrat or Republican or left or right. It's about right or wrong. And it is wrong. It is wrong for people to be attacked and called terrorists for exercising their rights and freedoms. It's time for Americans all across the country, all across the political spectrum, who care about these freedoms to stand up creatively, non-violently, to defend these rights while we can. And we must do this now. Because if we don't, we're not going to have any rights to defend. Now, some of you, I see you have flags in your seats. And, you know, today is Flags Day, among other things. It's Flags Day, and we ran out of flags, so 500 of you have flags. Now, I know that not everybody feels that this flag represents them. And we want to take back our flag. We want to take it back, and we want to fight for a multiracial democracy in which everybody will feel represented. And so perhaps tonight, while you sing along, you can wave your flag, just to show our intention. Americans across the country and hopefully across the political spectrum are watching us tonight. Hundreds of thousands. People were registering for watch parties.
Please welcome to the stage Rabbi Rachel Timoner, Senior Rabbi of Congregation Beth Elohim, religious scholar and educator Dr. Hussein Rashid, and Reverend Adrian Thorne, Senior Minister of the historic Riverside Church.
The First Amendment's Freedom of Religion Clause prohibits the government from establishing a national religion. Or interfering with your ability to practice your faith. These twin protections ensure a healthy separation of church and state. Allowing individuals to believe and practice or abstain entirely from any religion, any God. Hello, my name is Rabbi Rachel Timoner. I'm the Senior Rabbi of Congregation Beth Elohim in Park Slope, Brooklyn. In the spirit of the previous act, I also happen to be a queer rabbi, a proud queer rabbi. The central prayer of Judaism, the Shema, says that we are all part of a great oneness that is within and beyond all things, that connects and includes all life. The Torah teaches that every human being is created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. Every human being without exception. The Mishnah teaches that it is the diversity of human beings that testifies to God's greatness. And in the Talmud, the rabbis taught that multiple truths can coexist simultaneously, so that when we disagree, we should expect that the other's perspective contains truth. As American Jews, we have been grateful to live in a country that has recognized and safeguarded our religion and all other religions as legitimate expressions of faith. We have been grateful to live in a country that has protected us and others from the imposition of any religion by the state. These two ideas, the freedom to practice our religion and the freedom from religion, are essential to our safety and our belonging in America.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. That's right. Wa alaikum salam. That's the right answer. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, may God's peace, mercy, and blessings be with you this evening. And here's a new one for you. Nixon 5, alhamdulillah. I gotta get my lines in somehow. All right. My name is Hussein Rashid, and I'm an academic and a religious leader from a Shia Muslim background. And today we are about 3 days from entering a season of justice for us, where we'll begin the first month of the Muslim calendar, the month of Muharram. And during this month, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his family, my namesake, Hussein, Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, was martyred in Karbala, in modern-day Iraq, for daring to stand and act for truth and justice. When tyranny came, he said no, and gave his life for that. The Quran commands us to stand for justice, even against our own selves, and especially against the powerful. And that lesson applies, I think, to the First Amendment as well. The First Amendment was crafted, in part, so that the intra-Christian warfare that the framers of the Constitution knew would not happen here in the United States. Because religion and state power are a terrible, terrible mix. And some of those framers also wanted powerful religious institutions to be a moral balance to the corrupting nature of state power. And so we have to understand the First Amendment is about our ability to worship freely and to work for justice, especially against the powerful, because anything else would be un-American. Thank you.
In New York City, my fellow clergy and I have the great gift of working alongside Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Sikh, Jewish, and religiously unaffiliated siblings. You cannot share meals and stories and taxis and not broaden your beliefs. You cannot. You cannot share prayers and petitions and tears and not experience a bigger idea of the God you were taught. You can't witness the power and praise present in temples, gurdwaras, mosques, synagogues, rallies, and vigils, and fail to question the size of the God we've been given. The edges don't hold. They don't hold for me anymore. In these times when hope can feel lost, when our questions are as complex as the answers we seek, I call on a bigger God. The people who insist on any one religion's superiority have lost the meaning of God. It is because of the right for people of many faiths to each practice their sacred rituals that my relationship to God has grown. In that way, the freedom of religion is a holy right. I love the questions and the wrestling and the doubt that being human brings. And I love that I've lived long enough to confidently declare that God is big enough to hold us all. Yes, all our anger, all our disappointment, all our curiosity, all our delight, and all our joy. The God of the universe is big enough to hold all of who we are and all of what we carry. My faith is not weaker for it. In stretching its boundaries, it has only grown bigger. And for that, all I can say is thanks be to God. Every God for all of us.
Featuring the exceptional Broadway inspirational voices, here are Jen Colella and Alex Joseph Grayson to perform Huddled Masses by Shayna Taub.
Once was a little boy who dreamed of preaching the gospel truth. He lived in a country with an evil king who was killing all the youth. His family fled the country in search of freedom's flame. He was raised a refugee. Jesus was his name. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses on your teeming shore, yearning to breathe free. Send them all to me. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses on your teeming shore. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Remember what I stand here for.
Little girl who dreamed of being a writer. She lived in a country with an evil king who burned people who prayed like her. Her family tried to flee it, to keep their kid alive. There was raised a refugee, just her diary survived. Give me your tired, your poor, your masses on your teeming shore, yearning to breathe free. Send them all to me. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses on your teeming shore. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Remember what I stand here for.
There once was a young man who dreamed of earning his degree.
Lived in a country with an evil king who bombed his family. He flew to reach our border to start his life anew. He's detained today at JFK.
We did not let him through.
We did not let him
To break free.
Please welcome two-time Academy Award winner, activist, and the most terrifying father-in-law in cinematic history, the legendary Robert De Niro.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to all of you who couldn't get tickets to the White House cage fights. I'm devoted to our Constitution's First Amendment. All parts of it, not just the free speech part. That said, I'm pretty close to being a free speech absolutist. Even speech, I don't like, and there's plenty of that around. So when I hear something I don't like, I use my own free speech to respond. Let me give you an example. When I hear Trump say, as he did a few days ago, I don't think about Americans' financial situation. Not even a little bit. I say, shut the fuck up. On Wednesday, Trump said, I love the inflation. Now say it with me. Shut the fuck up. Trump said he won the 2020 election. Ready? Shut the fuck up. Try this at home. Your young kids will especially enjoy it. Last September, along with many of us on stage tonight and many of you in the audience, I signed an ACLU letter protesting Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air. The letter began, "We, the people, must never accept government threats to our freedom of speech." Well, of course. You're with me, right? Later, the letter stated, regardless of our political affiliation or whether we engage in politics or not, we all love our country. Still with me? Not so fast. The phrase, "we all love our country," stuck in my throat. Because our country isn't so lovable right now. I hate to say it, but loving our country is starting to sound like an abused spouse saying they love their abuser. I can't love a country that starts stupid and inhumane wars, killing thousands of innocents and indirectly causing the deaths and suffering of millions more. I can't love a country that takes health care away from millions of people and uses that money to enrich their pals in the Trump-Epstein class. I can't love a country that sends out masked militias to shoot citizens in the streets, torture our neighbors, and separate families. I can't love a country that's led by a racist, misogynist, xenophobic tyrant. And let me just say it. I can't love the country that's led by Donald Trump and his sycophant Congress. For most of my life, of course, I did love this country. The United States of America welcomed my immigrant ancestors. It gave me, my family, and my fellow citizens such rich opportunities and extraordinary freedoms. I want to love my country again. I want my country back. That's why I stand with the Committee for the First Amendment. And you, all of you. Together we rise up, we sing out, we keep organizing, and we fall in love again. Thank you.
Please give a warm welcome to community organizer, political strategist, and co-founder of Black Votes Matter, LaTosha Brown.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom's land. Injustice, sing with me. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around. Don't let it turn me around. Turn me around. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, yeah, keep on talking, marching up to freedom's land. Well, the first thing I did wrong, I stayed in the wilderness a day too long. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on. Well, the first thing I did right is the day I started to fight. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on. Amen. Hold on, hold on. Those are freedom songs. My people have always taught this nation how to sing its freedom songs because we know what it feels to be a caged bird, but we also know what it feels to lift every voice. Now, that's not a contradiction, nor that's a secret. Our songs came from the depth of our soul, of our humanity, for our experience. We let our hurt become our harmony. Our songs were prophetic. They were a healing balm to the world. And even in our journey toward justice, we've always been rooted to bring hope and joy, and both have a place in our movements. Every time this nation moved towards its conscience, we help birth it. We sang it to life and into being. Now, I come to you tonight on behalf as a Selma girl from a little city called Selma, Alabama. Anybody ever heard of that? As a co-founder of Black Voters Matter, where we have spent years organizing across this nation, but particularly in the Deep South. And so I come as one of those singers with a new song. But we do have a hard song that we have to sing together, y'all. Right now, as we gather around music and memory, those in power are quietly rewriting the rules on who gets heard. In Alabama, an election was had, and people spoke. And the powerful didn't like the answer. In Louisiana, an election had already started, the ballots were already moving, and they called for a do-over. Not because the people got it wrong, but because the few in power did get their way. Now, I can tell you what some of y'all may be thinking. You may be saying, nah, that's the South. That's far away. That's not my fight. Everywhere is the South right now, y'all. So I need you to hear me. The South is no longer just a place. It represents heartbreak, but it also represents hope. Because we are everywhere. Whatever they perfect on us, they will export to you. When they can change the rules of an election in the middle of an election for one people, they set the precedent for the entire nation. So today is the South. Tomorrow it'll be anyone that dares to dissent from the few who hold power. This is a litmus test. This is a rehearsal. Our fate has been tied to the fate of this nation, always. We have been as conscious since its very breath. And when they come for our voices, they're practicing how to come for yours. So let me say this. Silence has never been neutral. And cynicism is not a strategy. If you are not raising your voice in this moment against the injustice that is happening, you have chosen a side. Now, as we approach the 250th anniversary of the year of this nation, who's giving itself a birthday party that doesn't quite deserve it right now, I would say in my grandmother's words that what the devil meant for harm, God will use for your good. I didn't understand that, but I do now, that in this moment of despair, that people are looking for hope. When it seems like there's a dark night of the soul, we are the light bearers. We're the ones to actually lay the path so that people can understand. I am here as defiance dressed up as hope. I am resistance. I am also love. Yes, because our politics, y'all, our politics will not save us. Our humanity will. Real change in this nation has never come out of the White House. It comes from the people. We anchor it in our hearts, our minds, and imaginations of the people when we believe in justice. And look at what we've allowed ourselves to become. Here we are, a nation that pours billions into artificial intelligence, but will not invest in the greatest creation ever made, the human mind, the human soul, human beings, our babies. We would rather imitate people than invest in people. We would rather teach a machine how to sing instead of free the people who taught the world how to sing. But here is the good news. There is good news. There are more of us, just as Sister Jane said earlier, than those who seek to destroy us. And in the words of the great songwriter in griot, Stevie Wonder, it is time, family, to go to higher ground. We have to go beyond seeing ourselves just as citizens of this nation. We have started to see ourselves as the architects and the founders of a next America, a new America where children will not go hungry, where our poor will not be discarded, where our brothers and sisters of every race will see their humanity, that we are not supporting a genocide, that we will not allow our elections to go and be stolen, where the value of human life is over everything, including money, wealth, and land. Because we, the people, have the God-given right to create the America that we desire and that we deserve. Let's build it, family. We are the light bearers of a nation that is yet to exist. We, as light bearers, can illuminate the path. We can get the possibilities, for everybody has to speak out. Become the light of hope for those who are suffering. Teach ourselves a new song for our humanity. We the people. I want you to repeat after me. We who believe, in freedom, will not rest. We who believe in freedom shall not rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in justice will not rest. We the people. Peace and power. Love you. Thank you.
You're watching the No Kings concert organized by the Committee for the First Amendment, led by actor and activist Jane Fonda. Due to restrictions in music rights, we're not able to show some of the musicians. So we are going to break away from the main stage here, but we'll have more of the concert for you in a few minutes.
Welcome. welcome to the stage President of the American Library Association, Sam Helmick, and author and president of Authors Against Book Bans, Maggie Takuta Hall.
Good evening, beloved. My name is Sam Helmick, and I have the honor of serving as the president of the American Library Association. Tonight, we share a refrain in a long chorus of people who have gathered generation after generation to sing, speak, write, organize, create, protest, and imagine a more just world into being. We all know the First Amendment is not merely a list of these freedoms. It is an invitation to participate, to tell stories, to hear the stories of others, to wrestle with difficult ideas and difficult truths, to build something larger than ourselves. And libraries know this well. Every day, libraries make room for the hard harmonies and the difficult decrescendos. Libraries are one of the few places left in our society where people can encounter perspectives they did not expect, voices they may have never heard, and neighbors they may not yet understand. But friends, libraries cannot do that work alone. Civil society cannot do that work alone. We need you. We need your stories, your curiosity, your questions, your readership, your courage, your willingness to stay in conversation even when the conversation becomes challenging. Because liberty cannot defend itself. Freedom of expression must sustain it. Civil society requires us, people gathering in rooms like this, people showing up in communities like yours, people choosing again and again to believe that every person deserves the dignity of being heard and the freedom to learn. So tonight, as we rise up and sing out, I invite you to practice your freedoms. Visit a library. Support your local journalists, read broadly, listen deeply, speak courageously, show up for one another. Because the chorus of justice and freedom and democracy has never depended upon a single voice. Its strength has always come from all of us singing together. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Maggie Takuta Hall, and I'm the president of Authors Against Book Bans. When I wrote a picture book about how my grandparents met during World War II in a Japanese-American internment camp, I didn't expect a lot of controversy. But I found myself in the center of a national one about censorship when I was offered a publishing deal, which was contingent on me removing the word racism from the book. I said no, and I said no publicly, and I thought that that would be the end of it. Instead, I got a front row ticket to the book manning mania taking over school districts and public libraries all over the nation. It was while visiting Idaho, the state where my grandparents had been wrongfully imprisoned, that I was first made aware of the violence of book bans. I had understood that book bans were a problem. I had not until then understood that they were ruining people's lives. The librarians I spoke to were facing daily harassment at their jobs, being followed home, doxxed on the internet, accused of horrific crimes against children. They were receiving death threats, all for the crime of being librarians. After that, I told myself I'd be damned if I let them fight alone. And so I proudly joined with other book creators to form what is now Authors Against Book Bans, a coalition of over 5,000 creators all across the country, united under a single guiding principle, that it is not the government's place to tell us what we get to read.
I think a lot of us, authors in general, were waiting for someone to come and save us. But it's become clear no one is coming. Not the politicians who are eager to sell out our trans siblings for political expedience, not the CEOs who stand to gain from privatizing the public good, and certainly not our president, who is bent on gaining authoritarian power through all the dumbest and cruelest means possible. Exactly. That's how I feel too. It's up to us to save ourselves. The thing that makes me proudest of Authors Against Book Bans is that it is not one person who is stepping up to stop book bans alone. Countless volunteers do the thankless, long, and often crushing work to shore up our fight. Together, we have accomplished and we have won so much because no one is coming to save us. And that's okay. We are going to save us.
Everyone, please give a warm welcome to some special guests who are here to talk about the impact of family detention and family separation, accompanied by Ms. Rachel, Pastor Garcia, and the Peace Poets.
Thank you. And thanks to all of you for being here. There's another song coming, so this is, I'm just, you know, there's a big song coming. Thanks to all the artists and activists who've lent their time and talent to... And thanks to all of you for being here, and thanks to everybody that's tuning in from all around the country. Thank you. I want to give a shout out. I want to give a special shout out to a very talented man, Walter Willison, who gave me the idea to do this here, this concert in Town Hall. And thank you to the team that helped us bring us all here. This was a true collaboration tonight, led by the venerable and visionary Shelley Williams, our director. This event was produced by the Herculean efforts of Bruce Cohen and Rob Nanas of Rigor and Ruckus, with Rachel Sussman and Heather Shields. Music direction by the Tony Award-winning Mary Mitchell Campbell. Writing by the terrific Emmy nominee Bess Kalb. And thank you to the crew and the entire staff of the Committee for the First Amendment. You know, the musicians we heard tonight have sung out, and now it's time for us to rise up. Yes. We have to answer the call. Authoritarians will try many things to lock us in their hold on power, but there's so much we can do at home, in the streets, in the media, and at the ballot box. And now, we're going to give 4 calls to action, very concrete. And you can find links for all of them up here and all around the theater. There are, what are they called? I'm too old to, I don't... Q things, yeah. Whatever. Okay, call to action number 1. You can sign a petition to tell your state attorneys general to block the Paramount Warner Brothers merger. This is a direct attack on free speech, freedom of expression, decent costs of going to things. You're going to have to pay more if this merger comes through, and you're going to get a very thinned out kind of culture. It'll be flattened. Freedom of expression, independence, and diverse news. I have a personal stake in CNN. I don't want to see I don't want to see it go that way. You know what I'm saying? And
I'm so sorry. Did you know that there's an election coming up? There's an election. There's an election.
Hey, yo, Idibiri! Yeah, I did. I knew there is a midterm coming up. Thank you for reminding us.
The midterms they're not just coming up, they're months away. And I've been here, I've been watching this whole night, and I'm kind of going off script. But I was just thinking about myself as a political body, as a young queer black woman, but also just like as a human being. Like, we're all humans in this space, and moments like these can feel insurmountable. They can make us feel like our voices don't matter, or you're like, what voice do I have? Because I don't sound as good as half of the people who've been singing tonight. But that's wrong. It's a lie. And the powers that be know it. That's why they are actively trying to take away our right to vote, a right that people have died for. Moments like these, they can't feel futile. We can't let that happen to us. And there are a bunch of great initiatives that can help, like Black Votes Matter, and through the Freedom Summer Initiative. You don't just have to be black to join and to help out. You could donate, you can lead in your community, you could sign up to learn about this summer's events.
So that was the second call to action, okay?
Number two.
And next, you can volunteer for the Election Protection Coalition to help voters by phone.
And if you'd like an actual job at a polling station, okay, actual job. I didn't write that, but if you do want an actual job at a polling station, Power the Polls recruits poll workers and connects you with your local election office to apply, and this is really needed.
Yes.
This is really, really needed. I'm seeing some nodding. I'm seeing more nodding. Okay.
It's a real job. You get paid.
You really get paid.
And they really need us there.
This economy, okay.
And if you're a member of the entertainment industry, you know, an artist, a singer, but also behind the scenes, carpenters and electricians and all, if you're part of our industry, join the Committee for the First Amendment.
And if you are a part of a different community, a teacher, a student, auto workers, retirees, carpenters, plumbers, we're just naming professions now. But if you are, accountant, someone say your job. Social worker. I heard like doctor, and I heard maybe also lighthouse worker. If you're at a lighthouse, you can sign up with Indivisible or No Kings, and you can get alerts and opportunities to engage.
Yes. This event is called Rise Up, Sing Out, because we want to harness the power of the songs and words we heard tonight and turn them into action. Here's a thought. Let's all become living ambassadors for an irresistible future that we're fighting for, so that whenever anybody meets us, they want to become part of our tribe. For a world in which everyone is seen and respected and protected by their government. We can do this.
We can do this.
We can do it. We can do it. Now, since this theater was built by the suffragists over 100 years ago, it's only fitting to give them the last word. Through the prescient song from Shana Taub's Tony-winning musical Suffs, led by Kayla Devian with the Broadway inspirational voices, may we all be inspired to keep on marching.
to see the future that you fight for. Maybe no one gets to reach that perfect day. If the work is never over, then how do you keep marching anyway? Do you carry a band as far as you can, rewriting the world with your imperfect pen, till the next stubborn girl picks it up in a picket line over and over again, and you join in the chorus of centuries chanting to her. The path will be twisted and risky and slow, but keep marching, keep marching. Will you fail or prevail? Well, you may never know, but keep marching, 'cause your ancestors are all the proof you need that progress is possible, not guaranteed. It will only be made if we keep marching, keep marching on. Keep marching on. Keep marching on. And remember every mother that you can face. Learn much from our successes on mistakes. Don't forget you're merely one of many others on the generation makes. We did not end injustice, and neither will you. But still we make strides, so we know you can too. Make peace with our incomplete power and use it for good, 'cause there's so much to do. There's so much to do. Gains will feel small and the loss is too large. Keep marching, keep marching. You'll rarely agree with whoever's in charge. 'Cause your ancestors are all the proof you need that progress is possible, not guaranteed. Keep marching on. 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 It will only be us if we keep marching on.
keep marching. We will prevail. It's nothing we haven't seen yet. We gotta keep marching. We gotta keep moving. We will prevail. It ain't nothing we ain't seen yet. We gotta keep marching. We gotta keep marching. Can you sing it one more time? Come on. Come on, keep on. I want to hear you sing it. Come on. This is what unity looks like. Yeah? This is what perseverance looks like. Yeah? Come on.
You've been watching live coverage of tonight's No Kings concert in New York City. We return now to our Book TV programming.
Facing the country. I want us to build a bigger tent. I want us to be more welcoming. I want us to nominate occasional candidates that don't pass every single litmus test. I think we have an ability to build our coalition. My second prescription is that we just got to be more pugilistic and tougher on concentrated corporate power. We got to tell people. We got to tell people a narrative, a true narrative about who's screwing them. Donald Trump tells you who's screwing you. It's all made up. It's all lies. He says it's immigrants and Muslims and drag shows. No, it's concentrated corporate power. It is an economy that is rigged by the powerful. And I worry that our party has still not made that decision. We still too often look pretty feckless in describing the threat. And this is where I say, listen, I don't see Bernie's politics as a fringe threat to this party. I think he has it pretty right. I might say it and do it a little bit differently than he does, but I think we've got to name who's screwing people and do it more often. More confrontational, more adversarial on economics, bigger tent accepting in people who disagree with us on non-economic issues. I think that puts us in a very good position to capitalize on $9 per gallon gas prices.
Okay, we're still on Amy's question, but I've got some follow-ups on what you were saying. Okay, big tent, get it. You're not going to agree on everything, not on abortion, not on climate change, not on a whole host of issues. But what do you say to